I'm excited to talk to you today because what I'm about to share with you is something I believe can change yours too. And today, I want to talk to you about something called break the cycle of negative thoughts. Negative thoughts don't arrive loudly. They don't announce themselves. They don't knock on the door. They slip into your mind quietly, disguised as logic, realism, or self-protection. And before you realize what's happening, they become your inner voice. They repeat themselves. They grow stronger. They shape how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you see the future. Most people believe they are trapped by circumstances, by bad luck, or by the actions of others. But in reality, many people are trapped by something far more powerful, the cycle of their own negative thoughts. A negative thought is not just a thought, it is a pattern. And once a pattern forms, it feeds itself. One negative thought leads to another. One doubt creates 10 more doubts. One mistake turns into a story about failure. One bad day becomes proof that life is against you. And slowly, without realizing it, your mind becomes a battlefield where you are fighting yourself every single day. The most dangerous part of negative thinking is that it feels familiar. It feels normal. You've repeated these thoughts so many times that they feel like truth. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, nothing ever works out for me, people don't really care, I'll never change, this is just who I am. These thoughts feel convincing not because they are true, but because they are repeated. The mind doesn't recognize truth, it recognizes familiarity, and repetition creates belief. To break the cycle of negative thoughts, you must first understand how the cycle begins. It always starts with a trigger, a comment, a memory, a mistake, a comparison, a silence. Something small activates an old emotional wound. Your mind reacts instantly, without permission. A thought appears. That thought creates an emotion. That emotion reinforces the thought, and suddenly you're stuck in a loop. Thinking creates feeling. Feeling creates more thinking, and the cycle tightens. Most people try to break this cycle by fighting their thoughts. They argue with themselves. They force positivity. They tell themselves to just think positive. But this rarely works. Why? Because fighting a thought gives it more attention, and attention gives it power. The more you resist a thought, the more it pushes back. The goal is not to fight your thoughts. The goal is to interrupt the cycle. The first step in breaking the cycle of negative thoughts is awareness. You cannot change what you don't notice. Most negative thoughts operate automatically, like background noise. You don't consciously choose them, they just happen. But the moment you become aware, the moment you say, I'm having a negative thought, instead of, this thought is true, you create distance. That distance is power. Awareness turns you from a prisoner of your thoughts into an observer of them. Notice the language your mind uses. Negative thoughts are usually absolute. They use words like always, never, everyone, no one, everything, nothing. I always fail. No one understands me. Nothing ever changes. These statements are emotionally powerful, but logically false. Life is rarely absolute. The moment you catch these patterns, you weaken their grip. Another critical step is understanding that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts are mental events, not facts. They come and go like clouds in the sky. You don't chase every cloud. You don't believe every cloud. But when it comes to thoughts, people do exactly that. They believe every thought their mind produces as if the mind never lies. But the mind lies often, especially when it is tired, stressed, hurt, or afraid. Negative thoughts are often rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. Your mind creates negative stories to protect you from pain. It tries to lower your expectations so disappointment hurts less. It tries to keep you small so rejection feels safer. It tries to control the future by predicting the worst. But protection through negativity comes at a cost: your peace. Breaking the cycle means learning to respond to negative thoughts instead of reacting to them. When a negative thought appears, don't immediately push it away. Pause, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, "I notice this thought." That single sentence changes everything. You are no longer inside the thought, you are looking at it. Then ask a powerful question: is this thought absolutely true? Not does it feel true, but is it objectively true? Most negative thoughts fall apart under calm questioning. They are emotional conclusions, not facts. Your mind confuses feelings with reality, but feelings are temporary. Truth is stable. Another question that breaks the cycle is this thought helpful? Even if a thought has some truth, if it damages your motivation, confidence, or emotional stability, it doesn't deserve control over your mind. You are allowed to let go of thoughts that harm you, even if they sound logical. Another powerful method is replacing judgment with curiosity. Instead of saying, "Why am I like this?" ask, "What is my mind trying to protect me from?" Instead of saying, "I'm weak," ask, "What made me feel unsafe?" Curiosity softens the mind. Judgment hardens it. Negative thoughts thrive in self-judgment. They weaken under compassion. Your environment also plays a massive role in negative thinking. What you consume shapes how you think. Constant exposure to negativity, social media comparison, bad news, criticism, toxic conversations trains your brain to expect threat. If your mind is constantly fed negativity, it will produce negativity. Breaking the cycle sometimes means changing what you allow into your mental space. Protecting your mind is not selfish, it is necessary. Another key factor is your internal dialogue. The way you speak to yourself matters more than how anyone else speaks to you. Many people are kinder to strangers than they are to themselves. They motivate others with encouragement, but motivate themselves with fear and insult. This creates constant inner conflict. Negative thoughts thrive in harsh self-talk. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love who is struggling. You wouldn't shame them. You wouldn't attack them. You wouldn't tell them they're worthless. You would support them, guide them, encourage them. When you change your self-talk, you change the emotional tone of your mind, and that weakens negative thought cycles. Breaking the cycle also requires understanding the role of rumination, the habit of replaying the same thoughts over and over. Rumination feels like problem solving, but it's not. It's mental looping. It drains energy without producing solutions. The brain gets addicted to rumination because familiarity feels safe, even if it's painful. To interrupt rumination, you must shift from thinking to action. This doesn't mean solving the problem, it means engaging your body. Movement breaks mental loops. A walk, stretching, cleaning, writing, even changing rooms. Physical movement sends a signal to the brain that the situation has changed. This pulls the mind out of repetitive thinking. Another effective technique is writing your thoughts down. When thoughts stay in your head, they feel overwhelming. When you write them down, they become visible and manageable. Writing externalizes your thoughts. It moves them from emotional space into logical space. Many negative thoughts lose power the moment they are written and read calmly. Another important step is accepting that negative thoughts will never disappear completely. The goal is not to eliminate them, it is to reduce their control. Everyone experiences negative thoughts, even confident, successful, mentally strong people. The difference is not the absence of negativity, it is the response to it. Mentally strong people don't believe every thought. They don't obey every emotion. They don't let one bad thought define their identity. Your brain is wired to notice danger more than safety. This is survival programming. Negative thoughts are part of that system. Fighting them completely is unrealistic. Managing them is powerful. Sleep, nutrition, and physical health also influence negative thinking. A tired brain thinks darker thoughts. A stressed body produces anxious narratives. When you are exhausted, your mind becomes more critical, more pessimistic, more reactive. Taking care of your body is not separate from mental health, it is foundational. Many negative thought cycles weaken simply by improving sleep and reducing physical stress. Another crucial element is patience. Thought patterns don't change overnight. They are built over years. Expecting instant transformation creates frustration, which feeds negativity. Breaking the cycle is a process, a practice, a daily effort. Some days will feel easier. Some days will feel heavy. Progress is not linear, but awareness grows with consistency. One of the most powerful mindset shifts is understanding this. You don't need to believe every thought to move forward. You can take action even when your mind doubts you. You can live fully even when negative thoughts appear. Courage is not the absence of negative thinking. It is acting despite it. Negative thoughts lose power when you stop negotiating with them. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to argue endlessly. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Let the thought exist without engagement, like background noise. When you don't feed it attention, it fades. Over time, as you practice awareness, compassion, questioning, and redirection, the cycle weakens. The space between thought and reaction grows. You regain control. You stop being dragged by every emotion. You begin to feel lighter, calmer, more present. Breaking the cycle of negative thoughts is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before fear, doubt, and self-criticism took over. It's about reclaiming your mental freedom, your peace, your clarity. You are not broken. Your mind is not your enemy. It learned these patterns to protect you. Now it needs to learn a new way, and you can teach it, gently, patiently, consistently. Because the moment you realize that thoughts are not commands, not truths, not identity, but temporary mental events, is the moment the cycle begins to break. And with every small interruption, every moment of awareness, every compassionate response, you take back control of your mind. And a mind you control can change everything.
If you love this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to get daily motivation video updates. And